She taught me to be ruthless and I passed the test. My name is Tom Brandt and 3 months ago I thought I had the perfect marriage. Shows you what 41 years of living can teach a man about being spectacularly wrong. I'm sitting in my Honda Civic at 2:47 a.m. watching my wife Clara stumble out of the Marriott downtown with her boss Julian Drake. She's laughing at something he whispered in her ear. The same laugh she used to save for my terrible dad jokes. Julian's got his hand on the small of her back, guiding her toward his matte black BMW like she's made of porcelain instead of lies. The thing about being an IT auditor is that you develop a nose for inconsistencies. When someone's expense reports don't add up. When their timestamps don't match their alibis. When their story changes every time they tell it. Clara has been setting off every alarm bell in my professional toolkit for weeks now. Working late again, honey? She'd said tonight, kissing my cheek with lips that tasted like wine and guilt. Big presentation tomorrow. Don't wait up. I didn't wait up. Instead, I drove downtown and parked across from her office building, the same building she'd supposedly been burning the midnight oil in. Funny how the lights were off on the 14th floor where Drake and Associates keeps their offices. My phone buzzes. A text from Oscar Martinez, my programmer buddy who's been helping me with what he calls Operation Cheating Wife. Oscar's got a conspiracy theory for everything, but when it comes to digital surveillance, the man's an artist. Audio relay working perfectly. You getting this? I adjust the tiny earpiece Oscar rigged up for me. Clara's voice comes through crystal clear, slightly breathless. God, Julian, that was incredible. I can't believe we're doing this. Julian's response makes my stomach turn. Your husband's never going to figure it out. Guy's about as observant as a brick wall. I've heard enough. I start the Honda and pull out of the parking spot, following the BMW at a distance. Oscar taught me the basics of tailing someone without being spotted. Stay 3 cars back. Never follow directly behind. Use other vehicles as cover. The BMW heads toward Oak Park toward our neighborhood. My neighborhood, the place where I've been paying the mortgage for 8 years, while Clara climbs the corporate ladder at Drake and Associates. They stop 2 blocks from our house in the parking lot of a 24-hour diner that's been closed for renovation since company Julian kills the engine, but leaves the parking lights on. I pull behind a delivery truck and watch through my rearview mirror as they start going at it in the back seat like teenagers. My phone rings. Oscar again. Tom, you there? The audio is getting weird. Lots of movement sounds. Yeah, I'm here. And yeah, they're busy. Man, I'm sorry. This has got to be killing you. The thing is, it's not killing me. Not the way you'd expect. I'm not crying or punching the steering wheel or having some kind of emotional breakdown. Instead, I'm calculating, planning. My brain's shifted into the same mode it goes into when I'm untangling a particularly complex financial fraud case. Clara thinks I'm predictable. She's told her friends I'm boring, that I never surprise her, that I'm the human equivalent of beige wallpaper. What she doesn't realize is that boring, predictable guys like me have one major advantage. Nobody sees us coming. I watch Julian's BMW rock gently in the parking lot and smile for the first time in weeks. Oscar, remember that conversation we had about hypothetical revenge scenarios? The one where you said you'd never actually do anything crazy because you're too responsible. Yeah, that one. I changed my mind. The next morning, Clara's humming in the shower. Actually humming. She hasn't hummed in our bathroom since Obama was president, but apparently a night of infidelity has put a spring in her step. I'm making coffee and scrolling through her laptop, which she conveniently left open on the kitchen counter. Clara's always been careless with technology. She uses the same password for everything. Ambitious 2019, the year she got promoted to senior account executive. Her email's a gold mine of indiscretion. Messages to her best friend Lacey Patterson detailing every sordid encounter with Julian. Messages to Julian himself planning their next business trip to Milwaukee. And most interesting of all, a folder labeled Plan B that's password protected with something other than her usual combination. I hear the shower turn off upstairs. Quickly, I plug in the USB drive. Oscar gave me a little device that copies everything without leaving a trace. While it works, I start breakfast. Morning, sweetheart, Clara says, bouncing into the kitchen in her silk robe. She looks radiant, glowing, even the kind of glow that comes from feeling desired by someone new and exciting. Morning. You're up early for someone who worked so late. She doesn't even flinch. Adrenaline from the presentation. We absolutely nailed it. I'll bet you did. How's Julian handling the stress? He seemed pretty wound up at the company picnic last month. Oh, you know Julian, he's got his ways of releasing tension. The USB finishes copying. I pocket it while Clara pours herself coffee. Tom, I've been thinking. Maybe we should take a vacation soon. Get away somewhere. Just the 2 of us. That sounds nice. Where were you thinking? I don't know. Somewhere we've never been. Somewhere that might surprise you. She kisses my forehead and heads upstairs to get dressed. I wait until I hear her blow dryer, then call Oscar. I've got her laptop contents. How soon can you crack a password-protected folder? Depends on the complexity. Bring it over after work. And Tom, I've got some news about that audio surveillance we set up. Good news or bad news? Depends on your perspective. I recorded their entire conversation from last night, including the part where they discuss how they're going to handle things if you ever get suspicious. My coffee suddenly tastes bitter. What kind of handling? Let's just say your wife's got some creative ideas about gaslighting. She's planning to make you think you're paranoid. Maybe even suggest couples therapy to work through your trust issues. Clara comes back downstairs in her Powers suit, the navy blue one that costs more than my car payment. She's applied her makeup with extra care today, probably hoping to catch Julian's eye during their morning meeting. I might be late again tonight, she says, checking her reflection in the hallway mirror. We're celebrating landing the Morrison account. The Morrison account? She freezes for just a second. Did I say Morrison? I meant the Henderson account. God, I'm so scattered lately. There is no Henderson account. I know because I helped her prepare her year-end client review last December. Every account, every contact, every commission structure. Claire is good at her job, but she's terrible at lying. After she leaves, I call my boss, Miss Patel, and tell her I need to take a personal day. Then I drive to Oscar's apartment. Oscar lives in what used to be a nice neighborhood before the college kids moved in. His place looks like a Radio Shack exploded in a computer lab. Cables everywhere, multiple monitors, and at least 6 different keyboards scattered across various surfaces. Okay, let's see what we're working with, he says, plugging in my USB drive. While his programs run, Oscar shows me the audio equipment he's assembled. I've upgraded our setup. This little beauty can record from up to 50 feet away, and it automatically uploads to a cloud server so we don't lose anything. Is this legal? Recording conversations in public places? Absolutely. Recording conversations in your own car, which is where I place the transmitter, also legal. Recording conversations between your wife and her boss when they're discussing your marriage. Morally justified, legally gray, technically brilliant. His computer chimes. Got it. The Plan B folder. What we find makes my blood run cold. It's not just evidence of the affair. It's a comprehensive plan for destroying my reputation. Screenshots of fake dating profiles created in my name. Doctored photos that make it look like I'm the one cheating. Email drafts to my employer suggesting I've been embezzling client funds. Jesus, Tom. She's not just cheating on you. She's planning to frame you. I sit back in Oscar's gaming chair trying to process what I'm seeing. Why would she go this far? Look at the file dates. She started building this stuff right after you got that promotion last year. The one that came with the salary bump. The pieces clicked together. Clara makes good money, but I make better money. In a divorce, she owe me alimony, but if I'm the cheating, embezzling husband, she keeps everything. She's not just having an affair, I realize. She's planning to destroy my life. Oscar nods grimly. The question is, what are you going to do about it? I look at the evidence spread across his monitors, photos, audio files, financial records, fake profiles, everything I need to prove Clara's deception, everything I need to protect myself, and everything I need to make sure she regrets underestimating the boring, predictable husband. I'm going to audit her life, I say. And when I'm done, she's going to wish she'd never learned my name. 3 days later, I'm sitting in my car outside Drake Drack & Associates, watching Clara and Julian through the floor-to-ceiling windows of their 14th floor conference room. They're presenting to what looks like the entire company. Probably the fake Henderson account presentation Clara mentioned. My phone buzzes with a text from Oscar. Ready when you are. You sure about this? I'm sure. Clara thinks she's been so clever building her case against me while carrying on her affair right under my nose. What she doesn't know is that boring, methodical auditors are very good at building cases of our own. Do it. I text back. At exactly 2:30 p.m. during what appears to be Julian's portion of the presentation, every screen in the Drake & Associates conference room goes black. Then Clara's voice fills the room crystal clear through the building sound system. God, Lacey, you should see him in bed. Julian's got this thing he does with his tongue that makes me forget my own name. And the best part, my boring husband has no clue. Tom's so predictable, so focused on his little spreadsheets and audit reports, he couldn't spot an affair if I brought Julian home for dinner. The conference room erupts in chaos. I can see people pointing at Clara, who's gone white as paper. Julian's frantically trying to reach the AV controls, but Oscar's locked him out of the system. Lacey's voice joins the conversation. What if he finds out? He won't. And if he does, I've got a backup plan. I've been documenting some irregularities in his work, financial stuff. If Tom ever tries to divorce me, I'll make sure he loses everything. His job, his reputation, his precious moral high ground. By the time I'm done with him, he'll be lucky to get a job managing a McDonald's. The audio cuts to a different conversation. Clara and Julian in his car recorded just 2 nights ago. Julian, your husband called my office today asking about the Henderson account. Clara, there is no Henderson account, you idiot. I told you we needed to keep our story straight. Julian, relax. Guy's dumber than a box of rocks. He bought the whole working late routine completely. Clara, still. We need to be more careful. I'm not ready to pull the trigger on destroying him yet. I want to make sure I have everything I need first. The screens flicker back to life, showing a slideshow Oscar prepared. Photos of Clara and Julian at restaurants, hotels, and in the back seat of his BMW. Screenshots of the Plan B folder, including the fake dating profiles and forged financial documents. Email chains between Clara and Lacey discussing their scheme. The conference room has gone completely silent. Clara's boss, Margaret Hendris, is staring at the screens with an expression that could melt steel. Julian looks like he's about to vomit. My phone rings. It's Clara. Tom. Tom, where are you? Something terrible is happening at work. Someone's hacked our system and they're showing fake videos of me. And they're not fake. Claire. Silence. Tom, I know about Julian. I know about the affair. The fake accounts you created in my name. The plan to frame me for embezzlement. I know everything. I don't know what you're talking about. Someone's obviously doctored these files too. Clara, I recorded you for weeks. Every conversation, every lie, every time you laughed about how stupid your boring husband is. Through the conference room windows, I watch her sink into a chair. Several of her colleagues are already filing out of the room, shaking their heads in disgust. Where are you? She whispers. I'm watching you. Wave hello. She looks around frantically, then spots me in the parking lot. Even from 14 floors up, I can see the moment she realizes how thoroughly she's been outplayed. Tom, please. We need to talk. I can explain everything. No need. I think your explanation was pretty clear in the recordings, especially the part where you called me dumber than a box of rocks. Margaret Rise has approached Clara and Julian. She's speaking animatedly, pointing at the screens, then at the door. Security guards appear. Tom, they're firing me. They're firing both of us. You've destroyed my career over a stupid misunderstanding. It wasn't a misunderstanding, Clara. It was an audit and you failed. I hang up and drive home. By the time I get there, I've already received a call from my lawyer, Margaret Patel's cousin as it turns out, and one of the city's most ruthless divorce attorneys. Tom, I've reviewed the evidence your friend Oscar sent over. This is the most airtight infidelity case I've seen in 15 years. Your wife won't just lose the divorce, she'll be lucky to avoid fraud charges. That evening, Clara comes home to find me sitting at the kitchen table with a stack of papers. Divorce papers? I explain before she can ask. I'm keeping the house, the cars, and my retirement account. You're keeping your clothes and whatever dignity you have left, which isn't much. She sits down across from me, tears streaming down her face. Tom, please. I made a mistake. We can work through this. A mistake is forgetting to pick up milk. What you did was plan to destroy my life while screwing your boss. There's a difference. I never meant for it to go that far. The fake accounts, the financial stuff. That was Julian's idea. He said it was just insurance in case things got complicated. Julian's idea? Clara, I have recordings of you bragging about how you were going to frame me. Your voice, your words, your plan. She breaks down completely, then sobbing into her hands. For a moment, I almost feel sorry for her. Almost. Sign the papers, Clara. It's over. She signs. Then she packs a bag and leaves to stay with Lacey, whose husband apparently kicked her out after learning about her role in the scheme. I pour myself a glass of whiskey and sit on my back porch, looking out at the garden Clara spent so much time cultivating. Tomorrow I'll start the process of rebuilding my life. Tonight I'm going to enjoy the satisfaction of a job well done. My phone buzzes with a text from Oscar. Dude, you're trending on Twitter. It's #BoringHusbandRevenge. People are calling you a hero. I'm not a hero. I'm just an auditor who got tired of being audited by his own wife. But I'll take it. 2 weeks after Clara moved out, I'm starting to understand that revenge is like a controlled demolition. Sometimes you take out more than just your target building. I'm at Murphy's Pub, the same place where my friend group has met every Thursday for the past 5 years. Tonight, the table feels different, colder. Marcus Webb and Jennifer Liu are sitting on the opposite side, whispering to each other and shooting glances in my direction. So Marcus says, finally, setting down his beer with more force than necessary. We saw the news coverage. What news coverage? Jennifer pulls out her phone. Channel 7 did a segment on workplace affairs. They used your situation as a case study. Clara and Julian's names were mentioned. I hadn't seen it. Honestly, I'd been trying to avoid the media attention that Oscar's viral revenge had generated. Apparently, someone had leaked the conference room footage to social media and it had exploded across platforms. Tom, Jennifer continues, Clara called me yesterday. She's staying in a motel. She lost her job. Her apartment application was rejected because of the publicity and she's having panic attacks. I'm sorry to hear that. Are you? 'Cause you don't sound sorry. You sound satisfied. Marcus leans forward. Dude, we get that you were angry. What she did was wrong, but did you have to destroy her completely? The whole public humiliation thing seems excessive. I take a sip of my whiskey and consider my response carefully. These are people I've known for years. Marcus was my best man at the wedding. Jennifer helped Clara plan her birthday parties. Did you know about the affair? They exchanged glances. We suspected something, Jennifer admits. But it wasn't our place to. Did you know she was planning to frame me for embezzlement? What? I pull out my phone and show them screenshots from the Plan B folder, the fake financial documents, the forged emails, the dating profiles created in my name. She wasn't just cheating, guys. She was building a case to destroy my career and reputation. If I hadn't discovered the affair when I did, I'd probably be under investigation right now. Marcus examines the documents, his expression changing. Jesus, Tom, I had no idea it was this elaborate. Neither did I until I started digging. So no, I don't feel bad about exposing her. She made her choices. Jennifer's not convinced. But the public humiliation, having it broadcast to her entire office, that's cruel, Tom. That's not the person we know. The person you knew was married to someone who respected him. I'm not that person anymore. The conversation continues for another hour, but the damage is done. I can see it in their faces. They think I've gone too far. They're uncomfortable with the methodical way I dismantled Clara's life, even though they now understand why I did it. When I get home, there's a message on my voicemail from David Park, another friend from our group. Tom, hey, it's Dave. Listen, Sarah and I have been talking and we think it might be better if you skip game night this weekend. Things are still pretty raw and Clara's been reaching out to people trying to get support. We don't want to put anyone in an awkward position. Maybe give it a few weeks. Let things cool down. I delete the message and pour another whiskey. My phone buzzes with a text from Oscar. Saw the Channel 7 thing. You okay? Fine. Just learning who my real friends are. That sucks, man. But honestly, if they can't see that she was planning to destroy you, maybe they weren't real friends to begin with. He's probably right, but it still stings. I'd expected to lose Clara. I hadn't expected to lose everyone else too. The next morning, I'm at my office when Miss Patel stops by my desk. Tom, I need to speak with you privately. In her office, she closes the door and sits across from me with a serious expression. I've received some calls about your situation. Apparently, some of our clients saw the news coverage and have concerns about having their audits handled by someone involved in such a public scandal. My stomach drops. Are you firing me? No, but I am reassigning you to internal audits only, at least until this blows over. No client-facing work for the next few months. It's not termination, but it's a significant step backward in my career. The kind of setback that takes years to recover from. I understand, Tom. Between you and me, what your wife did was inexcusable, but the way you handled it, it's raised some questions about your judgment, about your ability to handle sensitive information appropriately. After she dismisses me, I sit in my car in the parking garage and call my lawyer. Margaret, it's Tom Brandt. I need to know, is there any way Clara can use this media attention against me in the divorce proceedings? It's possible. If she can argue that you intentionally caused her emotional distress or damaged her reputation beyond what was necessary to protect yourself, she might have a case for increased alimony. Even though she was planning to frame me, Tom, family court judges don't like public humiliation tactics, even when they're justified. You had enough evidence to win the divorce quietly. The viral video aspect makes you look vindictive. I hang up and sit in the silence of the parking garage, realizing that my perfectly executed revenge might have been too perfect, too public, too devastating. Clara lost her job, her reputation, and her future. But I'm losing my friends, my career prospects, and potentially my advantage in the divorce. Maybe boring, predictable guys should stick to being boring and predictable. But it's too late for that now. 6 weeks after the conference room incident, I'm sitting across from Clara in a downtown coffee shop. She looks terrible, thinner, hollow-eyed, wearing clothes that have seen better days. The confident, ambitious woman I married has been replaced by someone who flinches when strangers look at her too long. Thank you for meeting me, she says quietly. Margaret thought it might help with the settlement negotiations. Clara nods and wraps her hands around her coffee cup like it's the only warm thing in her world. Tom, I need you to know how sorry I am. Not just about the affair but about everything. The fake accounts, the plan to frame you. I was so scared of losing everything that I convinced myself you were the enemy. I was never your enemy, Clara. I was just your husband. I know that now, Julian. He convinced me that you were planning to leave me anyway, that you'd been talking to lawyers, that you were bored with our marriage and looking for an excuse to get out. Were you really that unhappy? She's quiet for a long time. I was unhappy with myself. You were stable, reliable, successful, everything I thought I wanted. But I felt like I was disappearing next to you, like I was just Tom Brandt's wife instead of Clara Morrison. You know, I do know I'd felt the same way sometimes, like I was just Clara's boring husband. The affair made me feel alive again, she continues, like I was interesting and desirable and worth taking risks for. It was stupid and selfish, but it was the first time in years I felt like myself. And the plan to frame me. That was pure panic. When I realized how deep I'd gotten with Julian, how much I had to lose if you found out, I wasn't thinking clearly. I convinced myself that you tried to destroy me, so I had to protect myself first by destroying me instead. Yes. And I'm so sorry. We sit in silence for a few minutes. Around us, the coffee shop buzzes with normal life. People meeting for dates, students studying, business meetings over lattes, normal people living normal lives that haven't been blown apart by betrayal and revenge. Clara, I need to ask you something and I need you to be honest, okay? If I hadn't caught you, if your plan had worked, would you have gone through with it? Would you have actually tried to have me arrested for embezzlement? She looks down at her hands. I don't know. I want to say no, but honestly, I was so deep in the lies by then, I might have convinced myself it was necessary. At least she's being honest now. What happened with Julian? He fired me the day after the conference room thing. Told me I was a liability and that he couldn't be associated with someone so unstable. Then he had his lawyer send me a cease and desist letter threatening to sue me if I ever contact him again. He threw you under the bus completely. Turns out he's married with 2 kids. His wife filed for divorce the next week. He's trying to paint me as some kind of stalker who seduced him. I almost feel sorry for her. Almost. Oh, what are you going to do now? I don't know. I can't get hired anywhere in advertising. The stories followed me to every interview. I'm thinking about moving back to Portland, staying with my sister until I can figure something out. That's probably for the best. Clara looks up at me with tears in her eyes. Tom, I know I don't have the right to ask this, but is there any way you could tone down the divorce demands? I'm not trying to take anything from you. I just need enough to start over somewhere else. I've been thinking about this for weeks. Margaret wants to pursue maximum damages, alimony, emotional distress, even potential criminal charges for the fake financial documents. She says we could leave Clara with nothing. But sitting here looking at what's left of the woman I once loved, I realized that total destruction isn't what I wanted. I wanted justice. I wanted her to understand the consequences of her choices. I wanted her to know that boring, predictable Tom Brandt wasn't someone to be underestimated. Mission accomplished. I'll talk to Margaret about a more reasonable settlement, I say finally. Clara's relief is visible. Thank you. That's more than I deserve. Yes, it is. We finish our coffee in relative silence. As we're getting ready to leave, Clara stops me. Tom, for what it's worth, you're not boring. What you did, the way you investigated everything, planned the exposure, stayed 3 steps ahead of everyone, that was brilliant. Terrifying but brilliant. I learned from the best. You taught me how to be ruthless. I guess I did. Outside the coffee shop, we go our separate ways. Clara to her motel room and uncertain future. Me to my empty house and the life I'm still trying to figure out how to rebuild. That night I call Oscar. How'd it go with Clara? Better than expected. I think we can settle this without destroying her completely. You going soft on me, Tom? No, just realizing that revenge is like auditing. You need to know when you found enough evidence to prove your case. After that, you're just being cruel. Deep thoughts from the suburban revenge king. Shut up, Oscar. But I'm smiling as I say it. For the first time in months, I'm actually smiling. 3 months later, I'm standing in the empty living room of what used to be our house. The moving truck left an hour ago, taking the last of my belongings to the downtown condo I bought with my share of the divorce settlement. Clara kept her word about not fighting the divorce terms. We split the assets fairly. She got enough to start over. I got enough to build something new. No alimony, no ongoing entanglements, no reason to ever see each other again. My phone buzzes with a text from an unknown number. Tom, it's Clara. I'm at the airport heading to Portland. I wanted to thank you again for being more generous than I deserved. I hope you find happiness. I delete the message without responding. We've said everything we need to say to each other. Oscar appears in the doorway with a bottle of champagne and 2 glasses. Thought you might want to toast the end of an era. Are we celebrating or mourning? Both. That's what makes it interesting. We sit on the floor of the empty living room, drinking champagne and looking out at the garden Clara spent so much time on. It's overgrown now, neglected during the months of legal proceedings and media attention. Any regrets? Oscar asked. I consider the question seriously. Do I regret discovering the affair? No. Do I regret exposing Clara's plan to frame me? Definitely not. Do I regret the public nature of her humiliation, the viral videos, the media attention that cost us both so much? I admit, I could have handled it more quietly, achieved the same result without destroying her career. But would it have felt as satisfying? Probably not. And that's the problem, isn't it? The satisfaction was addictive. Once I started dismantling her life, it felt so good to be in control for once that I didn't want to stop. You did stop though. You could have pressed criminal charges, gone after Julian's job, made sure Clara never worked again. You showed restraint eventually. My phone rings. It's Jennifer Liu, my former friend from the Thursday night group. Tom, I hope it's okay that I'm calling. It's fine, Jennifer. What's up? I wanted to apologize. Marcus and I have been talking and we realized we judged you too harshly. We didn't understand how bad things really were until David showed us some articles about financial fraud and divorces. What Clara was planning to do to you. That's serious stuff. It is. We were so focused on feeling sorry for her that we didn't think about what you were going through. That wasn't fair. It's a nice gesture but too little too late. The damage to those friendships has been done. I appreciate you calling, Jennifer. I really do. Maybe we could get coffee sometime. Start over? Maybe. I'll think about it. After I hang up, Oscar refills our glasses. You're not going to call her back, are you? Probably not. Some bridges once you burn them should stay burned. Fair enough. So, what's next for the infamous Tom Brandt? I look around the empty house one more time. 8 years of marriage, reduced to echoes and dust particles in afternoon sunlight. I'm thinking about a career change. Maybe private investigation. Turns out I'm good at uncovering people's secrets. Corporate espionage. I like it. We could be partners. Martinez and Brandt investigations. Brandt and Martinez. Alphabetical order. Deal. We finish the champagne as the sun sets through the bare windows. Tomorrow I'll start my new life in my new place with my new understanding of what I'm capable of when pushed too far. Clara was wrong about one thing. I'm not predictable anymore. The boring husband died in that conference room 6 months ago. Along with the marriage and the life we'd built together. What emerged from the wreckage is someone harder, smarter, and infinitely more dangerous to people who mistake kindness for weakness. I'm not sure if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but it's definitely not boring. As we lock up the house for the last time, Oscar claps me on the shoulder. You know what the best part of all this is? What's that? Clara spent months planning to destroy your life, and in the end all she did was teach you how to destroy hers. That's got to be the most ironic outcome in the history of marital warfare. He's right. In trying to eliminate the threat she thought I posed, Clara created the very enemy she'd feared. She turned her boring, predictable husband into someone capable of systematic, calculated revenge. The student became the teacher. The audited became the auditor. And the marriage that was supposed to last forever became a masterclass. And why you should never underestimate the person who knows all your passwords. I get in my car and drive toward downtown toward my new condo and my new life. In the rearview mirror, the house where Tom and Clara Brandt used to live grows smaller until it disappears completely. Some stories end with redemption, some end with forgiveness, some end with people learning to love again. This one ends with a middle-aged IT auditor who discovered that the most dangerous person in any room is the one everyone thinks is harmless. Clara learned that lesson the hard way. I hope she never forgets.